50 minutes. We made it 50 minutes without saying Pokemon Go to the polls. Great.
I hope no one else is doing a bit, but I'm doing a bit.
Daddy's got a pod.
I'm Casey Kasem, and this one's for the perverts.
Join us in our strange ritual.
That is time traveling love smut.
I can only say horny in one season opener.
A medium amount of fun and an extra large amount of sweaty.
From the minds that brought you Giraffe and Amerisaur.
No regrets, no masters.
I got dick jokes to make, man. Leave me alone.
This is good. This is good for anyone.
This one's going to be weird. I'm very interested to see where this goes.
Hello, and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this show, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comic books, video games, and the Borderlands movie has hacky jokes and a bad script. Sounds like a faithful adaptation to me.
Burn for all you Borderlands fans.
I read this afternoon that Borderlands is on track to be the biggest box office flop ever.
Wow.
Yep, it made like $8 million in its opening weekend, and its budget was something like $120 million.
Yeah.
Cost the same as a Marvel movie 10 years ago, and has made $0.
The number I saw was 110 budget and 4 million box office, but either way, it's bad. It's bad.
I love the quote from Take-Two's CEO, who's like the parent company of Gearbox, where they're like, no, go see it. Go give it a shot.
Right. Like,
why don't you just go give it a shot? It's probably fine.
yeah. What a terrible read for that person to be like, no, you guys should just go see it.
No, like, it's fine. Movies aren't like a big risk or anything. Just go see it.
And every review of it I've seen has been like, it is not bad in any redeemable way. There is no enjoyment to be had from watching this movie. It is just an affront to movies in general.
I mean, IGN, whom I've never seen rate anything below a 6 or a 7, rated it a 3.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh. Yeah.
The most telling, I don't know how much more we're going to talk about the Borderlands movie, but the most telling thing I saw about it was a review that said, if you've seen a big box office movie in the last decade, you will know the ending of the Borderlands movie in the first 30 minutes. Perfect. And that told me everything I needed to know.
Yeah, that tracks.
I think the most compelling thing is Matt won't even see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any attachment to Borderlands. Maddie asked me if we were going to go see it, and I said, I'll watch it when I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And that's as good as I can get
you
for
should.
you.
That was your opportunity to drag Maddie to the worst movie she would have ever
I know
had to
Andrew's
endure.
played some Borderlands. I played 2 of them, and like I almost would have gone to go see it, but I do not like Kevin Hart. And at this point, I was like, this movie is just nothing, and I don't.
That's
much
the
like
reason
Matt,
you didn't go, but that's fine.
Yeah, much like Matt, I'll watch it when I don't have to pay for it, not real money.
All right, let's move on.
Also,
Sorry,
Kyle, you say that like I didn't take Maddie to see Madam Web with me on Valentine's Day.
There is no way that Madam Web is a worse movie than the Borderlands movie.
I don't know who should be insulted by that statement.
Everyone. All right.
Speaking of races to the bottom,
let's do this show. My fellow debaters. It's another year.
We're doing this,
4.
huh?
We are.
No, I can't do an Obama impression past my fellow whoever's.
I'll give you that. The My Fellow Debaters was good and got me
really
there.
good.
And
I mean, we immediately clocked it, so
yeah.
That's all I got.
I thought Barry O was on the call with us today.
I'll perfect it in another 4 years. How about that?
Yeah, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah. So it's another year divisible by 4, and that means in addition to Leap Day and the Summer Olympics, we also have to endure another U.S. presidential election this year. Now, you might be asking yourselves, didn't we just endure a presidential election last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, in perpetuity until the beginning of time? And while it does feel like we have been trapped in this hell for eternity, I can assure you that no, the last president was elected 4 long, excruciating years ago.
Yeah, but I count those years in dog years, Kyle.
That would be like 28 years ago then, Todd.
Yeah, I've aged like their dog years. That's what I mean to say.
There we go. And while this year's election certainly has had its shakeups, we in the lobbying wing of DT HQ still feel like none of the candidates feel like real people you can talk to. No one really there to represent the real underprivileged demographic in this country, gamers. So in a landscape where both major parties are trying to be less weird and more relatable, we thought we'd capture the hearts and minds of the American public in a different way, by getting a video game character into the White House. And that's why I have tapped the greatest political strategists Debate This has to offer. Todd Die Hardman Thomas, Andrew Shinra Henderson, and Matt Christina Warren Cole.
Another one.
Kyle and I read the same listicle this afternoon.
We did, Matt.
Do you guys remember Hideo Kojima's game where you are a mailman, or you're a postageman, and you just walk around a world that's gone to shit from Time Rain?
Yeah.
Death Stranding.
It's
the best
I was
game.
going to say, for a second, I'm like, do you mean Death Stranding? The
I mean Death
UPS
Stranding.
simulator?
The UPS simulator.
I remember you talking about playing that game, but
What a work of art.
That's where Todd's president is from. Die Hardman is from Death Stranding.
Good.
Die Hardman isn't technically the president because because your character's mom is technically the president.
No one knows if you're right or wrong. That's
yeah,
the
you
thing.
could say literally anything.
I guess Die Hardman eventually steps into the role as like an interim former America's president. President Shinra is a president, but he's not like the president of the world. He's the president of a company.
That listicle had the caveat of like he's not the president of.
Yeah.
He wasn't elected, but the
he's a president of a company.
The company functions as the government, so
it does.
We're putting him on this list. And
I
then
don't know who Christina Warren is, so I can't own actually that one.
Detroit Become Human president.
Oh,
yeah.
From that game we all played.
That game we certainly all did play.
So, strategists, what video game character should Debate This Nation write in on the ballots this November? Tell us a little bit about them. What political party do they belong to? And what about them is presidential? Todd, kick us off.
Yeah, I'm just really glad, first off, that we finally spun up the lobbying wing of DT HQ. I know there's just been a lot of talk for years about how we couldn't both fund the cost of living raises while also being able to meddle in U.S. elections. So I'm thrilled that the execs figured out that razor thin balance there. That's great.
Yeah, the cost of living division, gone. Trashed.
There's just like a Sharpie crossing out the doors label. So
yep.
Anyway, just for too long, we've had candidates at the top of the ticket that are boring. They're too establishment. They're bankrolled by private interests. They have 5 fingers on each hand, and then they don't have a fluffy tail. And all of that changes this year. We are proud to announce that the Furry Friends Forward Party is going to put forth Bubsy, a self-made bobcat known for his breakout role from Bubsy in Claws Encounter of the Furred Kind, because that was the name of the Bubsy game, which is wild, as the write-in candidate for office. So there's a couple of good reasons why it should be Bubsy, aside from the obvious ones, but he is clever. He's not beholden to private interests. He saved the world like 6 times. And to be clear, not because he enlisted to do so or that he even had to, but because it was the right thing to do. And I think all of those things put together, Bubsy's the right candidate for the moment. We're going to write in Bubsy. We're going to push that campaign. I think we got some momentum behind this right now.
Can you show your work behind like 6 times?
There are 6 Bubsy games where various degrees of the world or the universe are in the balance.
I did not know there were 6 Bubsy games.
I didn't either.
Yeah, me neither.
They all have names that are either Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Furred Kind or the sequel, Bubsy 2.
Right. Great.
they quite literally Bubsy-2'd, and then they were like, oh, we're going to make more games. Maybe we need more fancy names.
More subtitles.
He did do a storybook Sonic game, Bubsy in Fractured Furry Tales.
Wow.
Yeah. So Bubsy, the lore is there.
Todd, can you clarify 2 points for me? One, you said one of the selling points is that he has a fluffy tail.
Yeah.
Okay. Want to get that clear.
Verified. Does have, so Bubsy's a bobcat. If you've ever seen a bobcat before, Bubsy doesn't look like that, but he does have a fluffy tail.
And he's a member of the Furry Friends Party. The
Furry Friends Forward Party, I think is what we're going
forward. For. Okay.
I would like to posit a punny title, Bubsy, a cat in King Arthur's court.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, the fairy tales he goes to are, I have the wiki open. He does Alice in Wonderland, Jack and the Beanstalk, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Hansel and Gretel. So it's kind of all over there.
All the public domain classics that they could get their hands on.
Yeah. You know, if you're going to do 40,000 Leagues Under the Sea, why not have a live bobcat in the sub with you? That'll solve the problem.
I'm now imagining a rewrite along the lines of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, but it's just 40,000 Leagues Under the Sea with a live bobcat in the sub. And it's the same story, but they have to deal with
a live bobcat.
A real not anthropomorphic bobcat in the submarine.
Just a feral predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Very good and interesting. Todd, we'll come back to you. Andrew, who do you think we should write in to win this election for the gamers?
For the gamers, famously underserved in politics, the gamers. Kyle, it is my pleasure to introduce a new candidate for president with whom I really think the public are going to identify. Kyle, he served a number of roles in public service. Prior to that, he built up quite an impressive military record, having led his countrymen to countless victories. He used to be a man of God, but more recently has voiced distrust in organized religion. But most importantly, what we've learned from the 2024 VP picks is America loves a family man. And goddammit, Kratos, last name redacted, is a family man.
Kratos, God of War, is a family man.
I said his last name is redacted. There is no proof that he may or may not be the God of War. Let's continue.
I don't think God of War is the last name. I think it's a title.
It's a title kind of like Comptroller is a title where it doesn't really mean anything. No one knows what it does.
I know Kratos' lore fairly deeply, and you've set up quite the stage, and I'm curious how you're going to stick this landing.
I feel like God of War is different than Comptroller in that it very clearly says what the job description entails.
Well,
I agree with Kyle.
You might think it does, but again, it's more of like a puppet thing. Like, how do you troll comp? It's so much like God of War. Like, you can't take that seriously.
How do you war gods?
How do you war gods? Exactly. Matt gets it. So we've been dancing around this, and fellow listeners and Todd may likely know Kratos from his work in 2018's God of War and its sequel God of War: Ragnarok, which came out in 2022. And that's it exclusively.
No prior entries to 2018.
Now, prior to that, Kratos did serve a few roles in local government, but most people who know him from his work in the Norse world of Midgard. So during that time in Midgard, Kratos led his son Atreyu on a personal quest to journey to the peak of the highest mountain in the realm, and throughout that adventure, defended the world from the actions of Odin's son Balder, the one that isn't a Marvel person.
But is still kind of a Marvel person.
But is still kind of not in the movies, at least, in the Marvel world. Now, following that adventure, Kratos and Atreyu were positioned as the sole defenders of the realm from Ragnarok, which you may remember from the third Thor movie, and also from Norse mythology, the thing that's the end of the world. And, most importantly, they definitely succeeded in preventing the apocalypse with little to no recourse to the rest of the world. So, Kratos for president.
Kratos for president.
Are you going to talk more about him being a family man, or are we just done with that?
I would also like to hear more about Kratos being a family man.
He has a son, and
he had a wife and a daughter, and now he wears their ashes on his skin.
There are no records to suggest that, Todd.
There's a cut scene.
I will not allow carpet bagging in my in my administration.
Gritty PlayStation 1 graphics told me his backstory.
My time is over. Let's move to the next question.
All right. We do know the American public loves to vote for a war hero and a family man, as you said. So I think another strong pick here. Matt, who do you have for us?
Yeah, Kyle, if there's one thing that the last 10 or so years of American politics has taught us, it's that Americans do consider a decent mayoral term enough experience to at least run for president. Now, the candidate that I'm nominating today is certainly more than a mayor. In fact, she's got something more that Americans also love in presidential candidates: celebrity. That's right, a person who is both famous and has a passable knowledge of legalese. Now, all jokes aside, I do think this person would make a phenomenal commander-in-chief. She's managed one of the world's most populous cities for years, topped charts as a jazz singer, and survived being held captive by a giant gorilla, then went so far as to forgive and forget with that gorilla and renamed the city of which she was mayor in her captive's honor after recognizing his contributions to society. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to announce the candidacy of New Donk City Mayor, Pauline. Pauline from Super Mario Odyssey and Donkey Kong and a bunch of other Nintendo games.
Matt, you just kind of reminded me how kind of fucked up it is that she named a city after the person who had kidnapped her.
Also, New Donk City is never going to go down smooth.
No. Yeah, I know it. I know it. Did you know before it was New Donk City, it was New Ape City, which I think is worse. I like that.
Yeah,
less.
it's not better.
It's not better.
And also in Super Mario Odyssey, there is a voice line from Pauline where she describes her experience being kidnapped by Donkey Kong as, quote, traumatic, but she learned a lot about herself as a person. So I think it's important to note that she really is an introspective leader, and she takes a lot of the experiences that she has to heart. And I think that that's really important.
It is unfortunate because other names were just right there. Like, she could have just gone with San Francisco.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
That's pretty good. Anybody else want to get one in there?
No, I don't have one for that, but I was trying to think who Kratos reminds me as a presidential candidate. And
it's RFK Jr. That's who
no, it's not.
That's what I'm doing.
Maybe you'll get there, but if you all remember 35,000 years ago during the 2016 Democratic primaries, there was that guy Jim Webb, who he was a senator and he had served in war. And there was a remark made about like who wouldn't want to meet you, and he was basically like the man I killed in war. Like he didn't get much traction, but that's who you've brought today. That in the debates, Kratos would go, "I've strangled the life out of a man."
If that is the case, then Bubsy is Howard Dean.
Bubsy is Howard Dean, and we would welcome him.
Look, I'm here with a mayor and a jazz singer, and I'll be, just a wonderful person in Pauline, and I think that she is the face and leadership that this country needs at this time.
Pauline's like when Bill Clinton played the sax on that one variety show.
Yep.
Yeah, it is kind of like that.
Arsenio Hall.
Arsenio Hall. Thank you.
And honestly, I would take all three of these.
I don't know about all three.
Well, I would take two out of the three of these.
Let me finish my argument first.
All right. So, moving ahead in this, I guess, debate. I don't know.
We don't do that here. That's not what we do here.
That's not actually the thing. I feel like we are three lobbyists with our candidates' pictures on the wall, just pointing.
Yeah, you've got the CNN touch unnecessary touch screen.
We're the public defender versions of lobbyists.
So Todd, tell us Bubsy's platform. What issues is Bubsy running on to get to the top of the ticket this year?
Well, as we had mentioned kind of at the start of this, we're all very familiar with the 6 Bubsy games, so I really don't need to go too in-depth on his well-known track record, but let's just say Bubsy has always stood against human rights violations, constantly, especially when those crimes are being propagated by the 1%, just like when he fought against the corrupt entrepreneur Oinker P. Ham in Bubsy 2 and in Bubsy Paws on Fire. That's a constant villain is Oinker P. Ham, which is a pig in a suit who flies around in a little Bowser flying clown car. So it's great. Bubsy is always quick to put the other people's needs in front of his own, even if that means he has to go out into space to fight said villainous pig wearing a suit and tie. Bubsy also just has a deep appreciation of the American manufacturing system and will always protect the hardworking blue-collar workers of our great country. You see, much like many candidates that just kind of like come out of absolutely nowhere and create a quick buzz, Bubsy is the owner of the world's largest yarn collection, which has netted him quite a fortune that he's using to prop up his own political machine. So he is not beholden.
He's hoarding his own wealth.
He's using that wealth that I'm sure will be untaxed loans that will have to get paid back to himself by the campaign.
You're saying that his wealth will trickle back down to the
his wealth will trickle back down. Yes, that's what's propping up his political machine. It's his own money going into this race. His prized collection also, it would cease to exist, this yarn collection, without the hardworking folks of all the states we're going to fight in. California, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming, which the internet tells me are responsible for 2/3 of the U.S. wool supply. So that is our campaign trajectory through those states, because that's a thing Wikipedia told me. But yeah, Bubsy's an everyman, an every bobcat. He is out there fighting for the American manufacturer and really just keeping human rights violations at an all-time minimum throughout the galaxy, really.
I don't think you have enough evidence to support that Bubsy is pro-union.
He cares deeply about American manufacturing and historical classics, which feels like that might support my argument.
That's a stretch. We've said some things on this show, but that one's a stretch.
I want to go back to Oinker P. Ham because I've pulled up a picture of him here.
It's exactly what you think.
And he looks like a Captain Planet villain.
Yes.
You throw him in the doc.
Yeah, once I get the image copy and paste function to work here.
Yeah, there's a couple good ones here, and all of them are just exactly what you think.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. That's our boy.
That's Oinker P. Ham.
That is a Captain Planet villain. You're right.
Whatever you thought, it's a big pig in a suit.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, Bubsy went out to space to fight him one time. I don't know if any of your characters gone to space to fight against capitalism.
My character went to hell.
Astronauts are still really popular in the voting public too. So
yeah,
there you go.
Did Bubsy go to hell?
One day Bubsy may have to atone for his sins, and it's hard for me to guess where he'll go to do that.
Yeah.
Andrew,
there's either
wait,
it's
no,
either
I got it.
Do you have it? Okay.
Yeah. Bubsy 666 in Dante's Inferno.
That's pretty good.
We just mind melded, Matt.
Your eyes both got so wide as you went, wait.
Cool. I'm glad we can move on now.
I'm glad we did that. Andrew, tell us Kratos' platform.
So Kyle, being 100% an absolute mortal human man himself, Kratos is a man of the people. Much like Bubsy, he's a man of the working class in particular. And also much like Bubsy and Howard Dean, Kratos is hyper aware of the impact that Midgard's top 0.1% had on the rest of the denizens of Midgard. And he has dedicated his life to fighting back against the ruling class. Now, Bubsy might say that he is pro-union and pro-manufacture, but Kratos has literally proven that he will fight against the ruling class by literally fighting against the ruling class.
By actually punching members of the ruling class.
By punching
the people who rule time and the sun.
Yep, he will punch lightning, the idea of lightning, in the face. So during his brief stint in the private sector, Kratos punched Balder, son of Odin, so hard that his face became virtually unmistakable from that of a bloody tree stump, mostly because he shoved a whole ass tree stump into Balder's chest. Now, Balder was fine because he was God, and he's also been cursed with immortality as the result of giant magic at the hands of his mother Frigga. But that's beside the point, because the threat, Kyle, the threat of the ruling class is certainly an issue that is non-Parthenon. I mean partisan. Kratos is devoted to delivering power back to the people of America, just as he did with his own fellow human mortals in Midgard. Kratos will work hand in hand with Kronos at Congress to pave the way for more protections of the individual from greedy corporations overtaxing workers and from self-interested deities tormenting the lives of poor farmers for their own fleeting amusement. Now, as a mortal human man freed from the fiery chains of religion, Kratos already has the full support from Athena, the atheists, and also agnostics across the country. Kratos' platform is, simply put, no gods, no kings, no masters. Kyle, if elected, Kratos promises to give a voice to the voiceless and to punch God in the fucking face.
Wow. What?
It's true.
What a slogan.
I tell you what, it has been a long time since this country has been led by someone who isn't afraid to punch God in the fucking face.
Sometimes you just need to punch God in the fucking face, guys.
You know what? That's where we've gone wrong. People want to say it's because God's not in the schools. No, it's because we haven't humbled him.
Yeah. Howard Dean 2024 humble God.
Woo!
What I love most about that is the Zoom feed cut out that noise because of the noise filter.
You all just saw me make the outline of a person doing a Ric Flair woo.
We knew what you did.
We got it. We got it. All right, Matt, tell us about Pauline's stances on different subjects, on different things bothering the American electorate.
Kyle, you'd be really good at a presidential debate.
Thanks, Todd.
Kyle for CNN.
Well, it's interesting, Kyle. I think when you look at mayoral candidates who have tried to take the big leap into higher positions, you see a lot of weak points. For instance, transportation. But I think that for Mayor Pauline, that's not going to be a specific issue on account of how well New Donk City runs. In fact, there are a lot of people in New Donk City who, if asked, will tell you that the city planning and the fluidity of the way the city runs is due largely to Pauline's influence. She's also had a lot of influence in the interior of New Donk City, expanding the park system, including the Pauline Memorial Park, which is a real place in New Donk City. And she's got her eye on the electric grid. As we have seen in this country, fixing the electrical grid is a huge issue. Coast to coast, north to south, it is causing problems across the country. But most importantly, Pauline is going to run on a very specific platform. Kyle, that is a platform of jazz. Now, let me explain. Those who have visited New Donk City may have noticed that everybody in New Donk City dresses like it's the year 1941. And everybody also really only listens to jazz music. Interestingly enough, if you ask Pauline what kind of music she likes, she says pop, but she is a jazz singer. So, maybe she's multidisciplinary, but I think that there has been a lot of misuse of candidates using language to hearken back to quote unquote better times in America. Those attempting to bring greatness back to a country when what they're hearkening back to isn't really that great. I mean, what do you want back? The economic crisis, the racism? No, Kyle, Pauline is focused on bringing America back to the one thing about the 40s that was actually cool. Jazz. We're doing jazz, baby. Everybody's gonna do some jazz. Also, like parks, electrical grid, transportation, but mostly jazz.
I think another thing from the 40s we can all agree was pretty cool was beating the Nazis. I do think that's another thing from the 40s we can all agree.
But behind a jazz soundtrack.
Do Nazis canonically exist in the Mario universe? Can we draw that line?
I hope not. I don't know, but I hope not.
Cranky Kong fought the Nazis. I'll thank you.
Yeah,
really?
No, that feels right.
No, but but you believed it.
Yeah,
I absolutely believed it
because
we don't have time to fact check that in this news cycle.
No,
because I do know that, isn't it? I think it's Mario Galaxy 2 starts with like a war scene on the planet.
It's Galaxy 1. It's because
Galaxy
Bowser is attacking the Mushroom Kingdom, and it's like there's like an air raid. Like, it's brutal.
That's as close as I can get. I refuse to Google Nazis in Mario, but it is an interesting question that someone else could ask.
Not to go down this particular path, but because of Mario is missing, the entire history of the very real world also exists in Mario canon.
Yeah. See, that's the game that I was playing. Like, Animal Crossing New Horizon, you have to go through a security checkpoint to get onto your plane.
Which means 9/11 happened.
9/11 happened in the Animal Crossing universe.
Yeah, I mean, the Chris Pratt Mario movie states that Mario and Luigi are just like everyday ass guys in New York.
They're just dudes.
In theory,
they left a smelly, greasy New York and ended up in a clean one that has plenty of public services and utilities.
So I think, do Nazis exist in the Mario universe? Unfortunately, probably. Do Nazis exist in Mushroom Kingdom? I would bet no.
No one check what the Toads are putting on internet forums.
The Mushroom Kingdom is clearly supported by the United Nations.
Yeah, the Shy Guys are weird little freaks, but they're not that bad.
Great. All right. So, strategists. Part of running for office on the national stage is having your dirty laundry aired out publicly, clearing out the skeletons in your closet, generally having your entire past combed through with the least favorable eyes possible. So, to get ahead of this, what do you see your candidate's opponents attacking your candidate on? What do you see as your candidate's biggest liability with potential voters? Todd.
Yeah, we've given a lot of thought to this, and we've got some not so great answers. So, being the owner of the greatest collection of yarn in all of the world, maybe the universe, certainly puts Bubsy in the 1% tax bracket. Something that will certainly play poorly in the attack ads against him. We already know it's coming. There's not a lot we can do for it other than say, hey, but he's saved the universe 6 times. That, and the fact that his personal mission to defend the Earth and her people has almost exclusively been in part because he wants to protect his own yarn fortune. Like it's kind of like a King K. Rool is going for the hoard of bananas, so Donkey Kong springs to action kind of thing. So that's not great, and we understand that. Now
he's kind of a NIMBY figure.
A bit of a NIMBY. Don't take not in my backyard.
Not in my backyard.
Damn, that's pretty good.
That did it great. The Oppo research is also, it shows we're going to face some other heat, that Bubsy is going to be certainly attacked for the time that he piloted an antique World War I biplane. He did that at an amusement park. It was a whole thing, but we fear that will be viewed as a form of stolen valor. We do think that he will be painted as falsely portraying himself as a war hero, even though, he did it for a good cause. However, the data we have pulled that does have us the most concerned is there is currently circulating a false rumor that Bubsy is not in fact a bipedal bobcat, but instead that he's just a weird little dude in a high quality fur outfit. He's in a fursuit. He's a furry. And we're pretty concerned about this because the attack ads will come. They will be there. Now, that will yield some amount of an uptick in new voters in a very specific community, but there's just no good way to address this rumor without us just getting into the mud. So we're pretty concerned about that one specifically.
Is Bubsy Midwest Meowth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
There's like a spectrum of bipedal cat that uses language, and I think Bubsy is probably chaotic good.
Yeah.
Neutral good. He's got a yarn fortune. Can't be.
Yeah, he's no Robin Hood.
So right. Meowth is East Coast and Bubsy is Midwest. Who's the West Coast? Meowth.
Blinks the time cat.
Blinks the time cat. Yeah.
He's definitely got Silicon Valley money out there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, how else are you going to afford all of those time traveling gear?
Yeah.
Good. Andrew.
Look, Todd mentioned it earlier. Kratos has a messy past, but Kyle, what politician doesn't have a few child and or wife-size skeletons in the closet whom they carry the ashes of on their skin as a constant reminder of their sins, right? Am I right?
Whomst among us.
Whomst among us. So let's just get it all out in the open, right? When Kratos was much, much younger, he served as a general in the Spartan military. In a moment of weakness, Kratos prayed to Ares, the Grecian god of war, which is why the only reason why the games are called God of War, to help deliver Kratos and his army out of an unwinnable situation. And Ares literally took Kratos up on it and imbued him with the deified blades of chaos, which helped him to turn the tides and lead his people to victory. Kratos would then go on to decimate other armies, all in Ares' name, and at the height of his bloodlust, was tricked by Ares into murdering his wife and only daughter, and after he realized it, he had been cursed by a witch, I can't remember, 2002, it was a long time ago, cursed to wear their ashes on his skin forever and ever and ever. That's it. There's nothing else there. Probably. I mentioned Kratos' stint in local government. What I was referring to was the time that Kratos rose up against Ares in revenge for the aforementioned family murder and conspired alongside his sister Athena, goddess of wisdom, to slay Ares the warmonger. After killing him and avenging his family's death, Kratos then served under Zeus as the new god of war, local government. Now, as is tradition, new wars began and ended and time passed, yada, 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 and Kratos led a group of renegade titans in a revolt against the tyranny of Zeus and all of Mount Olympus, and kind of killed everybody. But the reason he did that, Kyle, the reason that he did that was because the gods were kind of dicks. They're kind of dicks. Like, Zeus is kind of a dick. This isn't like Rip-Torn Hercules Disney Zeus. This is like actual Greek mythology Zeus that just is like a mean kid with a magnifying lens boiling ants in the sun, except the ants are people and the bones are his money. Now, yada, 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 some more. Kratos murders Zeus and discovered, he may or may not have been his son and also kind of born a god. Doesn't matter. This was Kratos' edgy period. Just like Shadow the Hedgehog, we don't talk about the early 2000s or Prince of Persia for the same matter, right? This is the Linkin Park time. This is a time before even Twitter existed, so it doesn't matter. The committee to elect Kratos, last name redacted, is also aware of some leaked footage of Kratos in an Athenian brothel, which can only be described as scream humping some prostitutes during a very off-color QuickTime event. But that's it. That's all of it. Don't look it up. That's it. There's nothing else, I promise.
There's nothing else.
I feel like every God of War game, until like the last one, where like he's a loving father, involved an amount of war crimes.
Yeah.
Like every one of them.
Not zero.
Typically to a QuickTime event play.
Yeah.
Which, Todd, puts him in good company with the other 46 presidents this country has
That's
had.
fair.
Yeah,
It's not zero war crimes.
I mean, he's got 0 drone strikes on his record.
Not nothing.
But that's not because the technology doesn't exist, Andrew.
Well, he punched a god in the face. What can I say? Like I said, Zeus was kind of being a dick. What are you going to do? You mess with the bull, you get the horns.
All right. Matt, tell us what skeletons Pauline is hiding in New Donk City.
Look, it doesn't sound right when you say it. I know it's right, but it doesn't sound right.
Well, and I want to hit on that exact point there for a second. There are
You're gonna hit on that Donk City?
Hold on, just wait. It gets worse, and I need you to bear with me. There are going to be racists that come out of the woodwork. When we attempt to elect America's first New Donker president, which is the actual listed race of the people of New Donk City in Super Mario Odyssey, the New Donkers. That's the last time I'm going to say that.
That's a minor league baseball team, Matt. That's what that is.
That's going to be a problem, and our publicity team is going to need to work on that. However, what I really want to address here is something that came up earlier in our discussion. A number of years ago, a little over 40 years ago, in fact, Pauline was kidnapped by a gorilla and taken to the top of a very tall and dangerous construction site in New York City, not New Donk City, New York City. Those are different places. And that caused some trauma. Now, the 80s were a different time, and maybe, just maybe, Pauline said some less than favorable things about gorillas.
You're victim blaming Pauline.
I'm not victim blaming Pauline. I'm just saying that maybe her language in the 80s wasn't as...
Maybe she wrote a paper when she was in college about how the gorillas on top of towers deserved what they had coming.
I mean, if she wouldn't dress that way, is that what you mean to say?
No, that's not what I mean. What do you mean? How'd you get there? No, all I'm saying is that she learned a lot about herself as a person, and she's changed a lot in these last 40 years. And if you were to read some interviews like 1999, maybe they'd not be so good. But a lot's changed, and we don't use a lot of that language anymore. And Pauline has learned, and she's different now. So, again, I think we're going to have a big problem with the whole new donker thing. I lied. I said it one more time. I don't think we'll have as much of an issue with quotes from Pauline, who was clearly going through an extremely traumatic event and processing a lot of emotions publicly.
All right.
I don't have anything to add, though, because I don't want to say or hear anyone say new donker any more than we have to.
Yeah.
And yet we keep saying it. You just said it, Todd.
One of the 5 major areas in New Donk City is the donks.
Like the Bronx.
I'm not going to give you that. That's not anything.
It might be something. Sleep on it.
Workshop it a bit too, though.
Yep.
So we're going to take a quick break, hear from the sponsors that made this debate possible today. And when we come back, we are going to have one last question for our 3 political strategists. Coconuts, couches, and carcasses in cars.
It's good.
Every campaign inevitably has a meme tied to it these days, especially here in 2024. For better, for worse, it has happened to you. Why has your candidate gone viral? And is it helping their campaign, or is it holding your election chances back? We will take your answers right after this break.
Listeners, we need your help. We're teaming up with our friends in 2 Girls, 1 Ship, the Cyberpunk Lorecast, and the Mass Effect Lorecast to host a rousing game of video game Family Feud at the Portland Retro Game Expo on September 28th. But to play Family Feud, we need to hear what the survey says. So check the show notes for a link to the survey and weigh in on the answers.
All right. We are back. We have one last question for our 3 political strategists to answer today. Why has your candidate gone viral? And is it helping or hurting your election chances? Todd.
So, some well-intentioned elder millennial on the campaign team decided that the best way to create some buzz was to just poke fun at these unfounded furry rumors that were going around. While creating this like viral moment, and honestly, the whole thing's backfired. So at a public appearance at South by Southwest, we had Bubsy come out in a lifelike furry costume of Bubsy himself. Kind of like a Russian nesting doll situation. The whole plan was that he was going to unzip it and it was going to be really funny.
Like a mascot suit or a masked singer.
Yeah, like a politician
situation.
Comes out in a suit wearing a fake mask of themselves and they pull it off and you're like, oh, it's them. Eh. Well, they ordered the suit without checking the details, and the next thing we knew, Bubsy was in front of a crowd in a furry suit that was incredibly anatomically correct. They ordered the wrong kind of fake furry suit. So, pair that with candidate Bubsy being unable to fully unzip the outfit in the Texas heat with his barely opposable thumbs and all of that sweltering hotness, and we were left with this sweaty bobcat man stumbling around the stage with his outfit half unzipped at the waist down, erratically shuffling while Happy by Pharrell Williams played in the background. So we did have quite the situation happen at South by Southwest. While that moment itself wasn't bad enough, it did go viral on TikTok. pretty soon the hashtag Happy Bubsy Challenge went wild. And now we have a whole thing going on where the Happy Bubsy Challenge is when you get very sweaty in a public place, you get your clothes all just completely disheveled, and then you start erratically stumbling around while Happy by Pharrell Williams plays in the background. So we have found ourselves in quite a conundrum where, I mean, all PR is good PR, but this is not the PR we wanted. So unsure if it's helping or hurting the campaign. We won't know for at least another donation cycle. I will say, though, however, this unfortunate incident has led us to cancel the planned partnership with McDonald's. We were going to launch a Bubsy shake, but we decided to cancel that for fear of what the internet freaks and the Gen Zers may do following the Grimace shake, that whole thing that happened. So, yeah, hashtag Happy Bubsy Challenge still going strong. Lots of hits there, and not the kinds that we want.
Now, Todd, this is an audio format, so we can't show any images of the event at South by Southwest.
Sure.
You say an anatomically correct furry suit, what do you mean?
Kyle, what do you think I mean?
I know what I think you mean. I want to hear you say it.
I don't want to hear me say it. I don't want to hear anyone say it. You know what? Listeners in this audio podcast, use your imagination. What's the worst thing that could happen? It's that. While Pharrell Williams Happy plays in the background.
Great. All right. Andrew, why is Kratos gone viral this time?
Sure. So Kratos is a man of few words, and I would say a large percentage of his dialogue in 2018's God of War is just him saying, boy. Every time he addresses Atreyu, it's, boy, what are you doing? Boy, what do you got there, boy? And it's just, you just hear the voice actor say, boy, a lot. And it's become a meme of the game. And I think, America loves a dad. America loves a dad bod, and America loves a dad bod with a beard. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. It can get weird on the internet, but I think the wholesome version of this is at rallies, people, generally the younger generation, will try to get Kratos to say boy, and they'll just go up to him and just kind of try to irritate him because he's famously pretty irritable, kind of a loose cannon, if you know what I mean. So it's really easy to get him to exclaim boy, and that's people show up with like hats that just say boy because the Democratic Party has kind of given up on ideas. And I think that's probably the extent of it. There's definitely some weirder, grosser stuff there that I don't really want to get into. So let's keep it at that. It's boy.
I will underline he's wearing the ashes of his family on his skin at all time due to the witch's curse.
He is a white guy.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
All right.
Man, side note real quick. The DNC would just make hats that say boy.
Right? Right?
Like
Yeah.
trust me, I'm voting blue down the whole ticket. I get it. But
Yeah, sure.
holy shit, they would do that.
They would absolutely do that. I mean, look, it's from the people, the directors that brought you Pokemon Go to the polls. Like, it's just the king of
50 minutes.
cringe.
We made it 50 minutes without saying Pokemon Go to the polls.
So we were going to get away with the whole episode.
It was inevitable.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Why is Pauline a meme?
Well, Kyle, like I've said a couple of times, Pauline is a recording music artist. Her song Jump Up Superstar, one of the biggest chart-topping tracks of, 2015 or whatever year that game came out. And
I think it was 17.
Was it 17?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that what is most likely to happen here is a resurgence of some of Pauline's music on TikTok. I'm sure that we will see some good TikTok dances. I'm sure that we will see some bad TikTok dances. And unfortunately, we are going to have to send Pauline out on stage to attempt each and every one of those dances. I mean, every time she appears in public, she's gonna have to do one of the dances because that's what people want. And I tell you what, I mean, she's a singer. She's a great front woman. She is not like a bouncy teen on the internet. And those springy little teens do things with their knees and shoulders that Pauline just can't keep up with anymore. And So it's going to be rough. I mean, we're going to see
I know you're in your 30s?
Yeah, why?
because that sentence.
Yeah, because of everything you just said.
Yeah.
The things they do with their knees and shoulders. You're like the talent agent who just spotted Elvis on stage for the first time. This man does things with his knees and shoulders.
Oh, damn, that's really good. Anyway, yeah, I mean, like, we're going to see whatever the Pokemon go to the pole of TikTok dancing is. We're going to get it from Pauline.
Dude, Biden's 2020 campaign is reeling right now.
Okay, so members of the lobbying wing of DT HQ are going to deliberate and decide who we're going to back for candidate for president. But before we head out, we need you guys to give us your closing statements, ideally in the form of a political slogan that we could rush onto some t-shirts and hats, but we'll take whatever you got. Todd.
Yeah, I'll give you kind of the primer and then what I think the tagline is, what goes on the hat. If you want to stick it to capitalist space pigs while putting the well-being of your neighbors first, then Bubsy's the candidate to write in here. If you want to elect a politician who is a nimbly-bimbly bobcat who wears just a t-shirt and is absolutely Winnie the Poohing it every single day, then that's also Bubsy. And starting now, this would be like the slogan right here. It's Bubsy's Brat Summer. That's what it is.
Ugh. You know what's fun is Bubsy and Kratos, between the two of them, make one whole clothed individual.
Todd, do you think after the viral event you described in the super secret bonus question, Bubsy had to start wearing pants on the campaign?
I think that all of his public appearances were waist up only. That you never see him kind of like
because he refuses
kind
to
of like
wear
FDR.
pants.
Were you gonna say like FDR, Todd?
Like FDR
for a much different reason, Todd.
Well, FDR wasn't a bobcat, so yeah, he's just always behind a podium now. He knows his strengths. They just can't get him to put on pants. I don't know.
He just refuses to wear
Mr.
pants.
President, please. And he goes, nope, and he runs out of the room.
Good. All right, Andrew.
No, I'm just trying to think of cat puns with FDR. Oh, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. That's what
I literally have that written on my notes as an end bit. You stole my middle name, you bastard.
I'm so sorry.
I've had Franklin Delano Roosevelt typed out for 10 minutes.
Really good.
How did you think of that 10 minutes ago?
Well, Todd was talking about presidents, and I was looking at shit about FDR.
Oh, okay.
And
Got
so
it.
it just kind of happened.
Just as one does.
Well, I don't feel bad about that. Kyle, it's easy. When life gives you lemons, wealth inequality, and massive inflation, you make lemonade by rising from the proverbial ashes and punch God in the fucking face.
Good. And Matt.
Kyle, we need to repair the lines in this country. In fact, we need someone who can reach across those lines to pull either side together. We need someone who can go from the Senate to the Treehouse of Representatives and get something done in Donkey Congress. And that's going to be Pauline.
Donkey Congress is pretty good.
Yeah!
Mayor of New Dog City.
Wow. Donkey Congress is so good. All right, we're
Really
gonna go.
good and right there. Holy
We're
shit.
gonna go deliberate. You guys do good vibes. It's good vibes time.
I didn't know what you all had planned. Like, I didn't look at the note until like an hour or two before we recorded to get my answers in the skeleton. Couldn't have guessed Kratos and Pauline.
Nope.
Want to
Never
make
in a
that
million
clear.
years.
And I know Matt left one on the cutting room floor that we'll talk about in the post show, but Andrew, man, thinking about like a desperate room of strategists that are like, who can we get to put on the ticket? And they're like, well, we've got this soldier with baggage. And they're like, great. People love soldiers. He served his country. Get him in here. They're like, well, wait a second.
He's a decorated war hero.
Yeah. I personally loved the God of War games. I didn't play the last one, but I watched, I think, every cutscene possible. So I feel like I played it.
Yeah.
What a fun thought to think that this is the Kratos you've taken from the fight and put behind the Resolute desk. Like, he has to parlay with foreign leaders who have like whiny complaints when he's like, I've literally been sent to hell and crawled my way out of hell and
twice.
Here I am. Yeah, I fought Kronos, the god of time, who holds the stars in the sky.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to settle a funding bill for Congress. Cool.
For Donkey Congress.
For Donkey Congress. I just love that Kratos is just would not care about the petty dealings, but would have to deal with them.
Yeah.
Also, him signing mandates while the Blades of Chaos are chained forever to his wrist is pretty funny. Matt, I don't know much about Pauline except for the things you've shared because I didn't play that Mario game. But the New Donk City hit hard. New Donk City hit hard. I was not prepared for it, and I should have been. And also, listen, we've got one other mayor of a small town that's ended up at the national stage, and that's going okay. So, like, who's to say that Pauline, couldn't be up there? I do really love that the Achilles heel of her campaign would be a bunch of people in the crowd being, sing your song, like, and she's like, I want to talk about policy and specifically foreign policy and how I'll deal with jump up superstar. Like, I think that's just really, really funny to me.
Man, oh man, this was a lot of fun. Todd, similarly, in a similar vein, wouldn't have thought Bubsy was coming in 1,000 miles. Really, I mean, anytime we can talk about Bubsy is a good time. Frankly, it's not enough. The cat puns, the recalling of the very silly Bubsy lore, and then tying it. I thought you did a really good job of tying Bubsy to, taking down the robber barons of those games. That's a very fun answer. I will be thinking of cat themed puns for presidents and at least for the rest of the week.
Right.
Matt, Pauline, also a really good pool. I think it would have been like an easy, boring answer to say Princess Peach or even like Princess Daisy, but pulling up Pauline, for whom we have virtually zero lore outside of the like overall vibe of New Donk City, which is just a fever dream. Like, if you've played Mario Odyssey, it's an absolute fever dream.
Yeah.
No, it was really fun. I think you did a really good job of identifying what she was, a problematic white lady in the 90s. but like pre-Twitter, right? And then she's since like learned how to be a little bit more tolerant and and like learn that some language is very harmful. That's very funny to me. So great job, everybody.
Yeah. Todd, Bubsy. Wow. Never I've been thinking about this question all day, trying to come up with an answer. And never once did Bubsy cross my mind. And I was really hoping that somebody would bring, like, not a regular person to this debate. Like, we would get some, like, alien or warped being. And honestly, anthropomorphic bobcat is great and right up the alley. I like that a lot. I did not like the fursuit thing, but that's okay.
Can't like everything.
Andrew, Kratos is such a good answer. The reason that I had a hard time thinking of an answer for today was because I saw you put down Kratos and I was like, well, shit, he's right. Like, I don't have... that took all the wind out of my sails because every funny angle that I could think of like, who do you put out there is like President Camacho from Idiocracy, and that's Kratos, baby. So I really like that a lot. I was elected to lead, not to read energy, which is really good. Sure. Yeah, good job all around.
All right. Good vibes, everyone. Much needed good vibes in this desolate hellscape that is election season. We are back. We have made our decision. And let me start by letting first Andrew know that we have not
be winning tonight. That's great. Thank you so much, Kyle.
We will not be throwing our support behind Kratos. We don't feel that it's his many war crimes that makes him ineligible as a candidate. We do think the American public is not going to be able to swallow him murdering his wife and child. at all, and we do think the footage of him in the brothel is gonna really tank.
It's jarring. It's jarring. Even for those even for the strongest of stomachs, it's jarring.
It's jarring.
And you know what? If he tries to pay to cover that up, it's gonna get even worse.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. Somebody put Kratos.
Boy. That brings us to Todd. Todd, we
is
cannot
the winner
throw
instead.
our support behind Bubsy because he had
of the war crimes?
An anatomically correct furry penis out on stage, and then refused to wear pants afterwards. And once
it too is jarring.
Once the American public learns not only of the horrible mistake with the fursuit, but his staunch refusal to wear pants following it, we don't think that he's gonna get more than a small percentage, a fraction of a percent of the votes.
This was America, Kyle.
And that makes our winner today the candidate we are going to throw the full support of DT HQ behind, Paulina. Matt, you are our winner today. Paulina is going to win. We think much of her success is going to be carried solely on the bopability of Jump Up Superstar. We're playing it at every campaign stop. Plus, we think Americans are just going to have a really fun time saying New Donk City and say that they're supporting their new donker president. We think that's really just going to get the people out to vote. And then finally, Matt, we leaked the Donkey Congress joke, and it's playing super well.
Yeah!
So, Matt, you are our winner today. Paulina is going to be our next president and first woman president. Thank you all.
The DNC is going to roll out hats that just say donk. That's just... and I can't even be mad.
You'd wear a donk hat.
It's like the Obama Hope posters, but it says donk.
It's just donk. Oh, man.
That's really good.
Listen, artists out there, if you're out there, hi, hello. I have a job for you.
That is going to do it for us today on Debate This. Thank you for listening. You can follow along with the arguments on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at DebateThisCast or on our website, debatethiscast.com. If you ever come to the end of an episode such as this one and found yourself wondering, man, I really like listening to Debate This 2 out of every 4 Tuesdays each month. I just wish I could somehow listen to Debate This a 4th week every month. Well, I have great news for you, listener. It's called Debate This Premium Feed, and it's available right now through our Patreon at patreon.com/debatethiscast. Subscribing at the low price of $5 a month will get you all current and past episodes of our exclusive Patreon show, Deconstructed, a Disney Channel original movie watch-along podcast that I am told is in the throes of Hot Girl of the 21st Century Summer, where we are watching all 3 Xenon Girl of the 21st Century movies. It is 75% cheaper than your standard issue Battle Pass, and like I said, it gets you all those past episodes. No grinding necessary. Until next time, I'm Kyle Harper.
I'm Todd. Bobcats. How do you cat a bob, Thomas?
I'm Andrew. Pauline legalizes marijuana. Call it New Dank City, Henderson.
And I'm Matt, the most devious bastard in New Donk City.
And we're saying thanks for debating with us, and if you think we're wrong, you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds.